just a tiny bit, and you can see what Soulkey does to you if you do falter. So our next map, Gladiator. It's another reverse map, reverse ramp map, but it definitely plays a bit different. There are 3 Ling-type natural walls that you can have on this map, so if he's not top left, he can do that if he wants.
Yep.
Which adds a little bit of interesting choice strategically to the Terran arsenal. But we'll see. I don't think he's going to go for that.
We're going to go into Game 2 now. Again, Soulkey versus Light in this best of 5. Okay, so we have both players hugging the right side of the map here. Soulkey at the top and Light at the bottom.
Cool. So, these are pretty close spots. Soulkey will not scout Light first. Light probably will scout Soulkey right away, but this is one of the spots that he could do a Zergling tight wall if he wanted. Ooh. Why is my tea soggy?
We've guessed
it's because Flash plays Shamtu, that's why. Cheers to Shamtu for coming out to Korea.
Yes. Got a celebrity appearance.
Look at Tasteless there. Does Tasteless always hunch like that when he casts? Yes. Like normally he lays in a bed while he casts, okay?
Yeah, usually they have monitors attached to the ceiling and I just lay there writhing around. No, we're excited to have Shamtu down here. Great caster, great observer. He just got a badass siege tank tattoo as well.
And you know what? If the Twitch stream goes down, I know who to call.
That's right. That's what he does. You're probably asking, how does he do that? Well, what he does is he takes the 2 wires that are disconnected, he grabs each side, and electricity goes through his body. By the time he saved the stream, there's a little bit of blood coming out of his nose. Like a little bit of him dies every time he has to do it.
He's basically like 11 without the magic powers.
Yeah. So, let's talk about this map. Because
Gladiator. Well, Gladiator is a really neat map for TVZ, in my opinion, because, like, for instance, I don't personally think that mech transitions are very good here. You can't really block, like, 2 bases with it, but the thing is you can get 4 bases here as Terran pretty darn easily. It's really not hard to get and secure 4.
Yeah.
And it's also a very droppable map, right? Because it does have those low ground main bases. So the same way that, like, for instance, a Protoss is going to want to maybe recall in your base because you have this low ground main, stuff like that can work against Zerg as well, to some degree. Obviously, Scourge Fly and stuff is anti-air, but, I think it's going to fit Light's aggressive bio-centric play very well.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see if Zerg does anything crazy here as well. One thing that I always wonder about, just as someone who's a Protoss player, and maybe you can explain this from your toes, is how much of a pain in the ass is it to push on this map with the high ground, low ground, high ground, low ground?
Oh, it's really interesting, right? Because obviously holding the high ground with bio or with lurkers is super doable, and you can't just stim up into the lurkers, and likewise, like, I mean, if you have enough Ling Lurker, I guess you can run up towards the Marines, but they're going to trade well. They're going to see you ahead of time. There's definitely issues on both sides there. And positioning your units correctly, because obviously the high grounds are important, but they aren't always the quickest way to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And, you can't see from one hill to another very easily, so things like Lurkers just waiting can be a little bit scary. I mean, I just feel like Gladiator's like a very dynamic, cool map for this matchup. Definitely can have some very exciting and action-packed games.
Yeah, I'm happy that this is an active map right now in StarCraft Brood War. Yeah. Even though PvP is a headache on it, I'm glad it's here.
Well, don't worry, it's off the ladder now, so you don't have to worry about that. No more people putting cannons on your bases, my friend.
Okay, so the Lings are going to continue to try to chase this SCV. You can pretty much keep that SCV alive until Ling's speed's done. Mm-hmm. There's just not a lot you can do about it if you're very good at controlling. So these Lings are going to come forward. Just checking to see.
2 came in. They're like, wait, only 2 Marines? Turn around. Oh, a 3rd Marine. Turn around again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's 2 racks play here for Light, which is something that he generally tends to favor a little bit over the build we saw in the previous game. And on Soulkey's side, it looks like a very standard 3-hatch muta play. We'll see if he does go for that Spire, but it's really looking at it like it so far.
Okay, SCV is been zoned out a little bit here. It's good it's still alive, though. And we're going to see this layer tech come up here. Now, back over at the Terran's base, the Academy's on the way. Terran can try to move out and put a little bit of pressure, even without Stim in StarCraft 1, if they are basically sure that the Zerg is macroing and going for econ and tech. So we see that occasionally the Terran comes out. It's kind of tricky to get a really good vision of what the Terran's doing and how far across the map they're coming, since there's not always places to put overlords.
Yeah. Like,
So
look
what
at this game. He doesn't have one.
Yeah, so what you see is these lings, the 1 to 2 lings out there to basically see the army and then run away. So a lot of times we'll have these dances where the Marines, as you can see, they come out and then they go back. And basically it keeps Soulkey, it forces him to be very active about trying to spot this. And it's really easy to lose lings in this process. And this is one of these little mini games where you can get a lead in that, and it can confuse the Terran or the Zerg depending on who's handling it better.
Yeah, and you can kind of like, everything you said there is so important because it's 2-Rax play specifically. So like we were talking about before, you can pressure before the mutas are out. And you see how that Soulkey was already making 2 creep colonies. So he's kind of aware that this can come super fast. Now, a little speedling counterattack. We'll see
This
what
is
pops
so
out.
sexy.
Oh, fire bats, of course.
Yeah, he does go around, though. He's going to see exactly where the Terran is tech-wise. Now, these Marines and medics are not stopping. Sometimes they get in a situation where the Zerg player doesn't calculate this correctly. You can lose with 3 sunken colonies. Sometimes really good Zerg players actually have these sunken colonies hotkeyed so they can target down the Marines exactly and try to get the kills.
This time he's definitely not going to attack in. If you attack into that, he is going to be able to clean you up, and then you're not going to have the right amount of Marines to hold the mutiling for the rest of the time. But just these lings running around, it's taxing Light a little bit. And this group is not going to break through with those lings, those 3 sunks and mutas on the way. Like, Light's not going to be able to do anything yet. So, but he needs some turrets at home. This is the one thing I'm a little bit nervous about for him.
Well, these additional lings actually ran by. The lings are obviously much faster.
Yeah.
Looks like the turrets are finally coming up here. I was
go.
wondering if he might be able to come down and snipe a turret or anything like that.
Yeah,
I guess we are going to have that.
This is a great type of play when you're harassing with these lings and trying to just slow them down from getting turrets. Because if the mutas get there before the turrets, you know, your range isn't going to be quite done yet, probably.
Yeah.
And, you know, the mutas can kind of get out of control at that point.
Hoping we actually have a long TBZ here. I really like casting that, but, you know, we've had some fairly short games when something went disastrously wrong for either the Terran or the Zerg early on.
Yeah.
But it seems like Light should be okay against this Muta Rush. Now, if you hold off the Muta Rush, the Mutas are still not wasted. Teching up to them is still a really valuable thing, and you can absolutely use them to try to fight with the lings in the middle of the map.
Yeah, and this little group of mutas not able to do anything quite yet. You can notice how he hit originally here with 8 mutas, so not quite to his full flock yet. Wants to get up to that 11 number. Here we go. Finally has the full flock, and there's plenty of turrets, though. It's like really well placed.
Yeah. And even if he can get one, you remake that turret in the same spot, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
So Light is basically able to keep the main alive and start to push out. And by the way, one thing that's tricky if you go for mutas on this map, you can't really harass the natural expansion with mutas. The way the minerals are placed over there, the mutas would have to go all the way around on the outside. So you're basically either hitting the main or hitting the natural. You're not doing both. In some other maps, it's quite different. And now we have Light coming out here with a pretty strong contain.
Yeah, and what he's doing with this group is he's threatening the mutas. The mutas have to be careful now, right? Because that is enough bio that you might be able to break the sunkens. So,
and that does happen in a lot of games.
You notice how as soon as that moved into position, Soulkey had his mutas leave the main base just momentarily. Even something like that, you're like, okay, are the mutas on their way? They're not this time, but it gives Soulkey more build time at home as well.
Okay, so now Soulkey's come around. He's decided to have these mutas over here at the natural. It was pretty skimpy as far as defense on this side. Soulkey's been forced, by the way, to make a lot more sunken colonies back at home. Now, we don't have a third base, so we saw both players had feelers sent out on the map to try to get an idea of whether or not the Zerg has a third or if the Terran was going to scout that said third.
Yeah, and Soulkey, look how many sunkens he's actually made. He's just staying on the mutas, going into the Queen's Nest. This could transition into Guardians. It's possible. We see it sometimes, especially with that +1.
Yeah,
but he's going so harassment heavy here.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder about this because, he's got +1 attack on the mutas. He's still hitting everywhere pretty hard, but yeah, I mean, Guardians could be a very natural thing to tech into. You could wedge him between the natural and the main, or you could go behind here. But it looks like Terran may be itching to bust. These mutas are going to have to come back here and help defend.
Yeah, the mutas start to fly, and I think because the bio hasn't moved in yet, he hasn't gone, but he needs to pull the trigger and go so he has time to build turrets at home or he's going to die.
Having this many sunken colonies, does that telegraph the possibility of Guardians or Tosis?
Yes, absolutely. It tells you that this guy is so serious right now about what he's doing. As long as you're scouting semi-actively on the map, looking for other bases, it's like all the info you need. He's not going lurker, clearly. But look, when Light turned around here, this was a win for Soulkey when Light turned around. Not like a game win, but I'm saying like strategically, Soulkey's very happy he turned around.
Yeah, but this is what's so vexing about this kind of play, right? Is Light has to send the Marines back to defend. But guess what? Soulkey doesn't have to fight the Marines. No. He's like, oh, they're finally here, and he just flies away.
Yeah. He keeps up the harassment. Look at this. He's killed a huge amount of turrets, a huge amount of SCVs. He's picking off Marines. And it's not over, though. Again, like, this is Mutalisk play. You get 2 good irradiates off on the Mutalisks, and suddenly they're gone.
That's true.
Light is not out of the game, but Soulkey took a nice lead here.
Again, the Firebat's coming out saying, you don't have a third base anywhere here.
Yeah, he's starting to get a little bit, A little bit.
Okay, well, so we got some Guardians here.
Lurkers.
Sorry, Lurkers. What am I talking about? Oh, look at these guys crawling on the ground. I'm like, yeah, Guardians look different now in StarCraft Remastered. Their wings move differently. Their wings go on the ground. Okay, so he's...
they swim through the ground. It's amazing.
It's crazy.
They do splash now, too. Isn't that wild?
Yeah. So he's out over here. And it looks like he wants to see if he can't come in here and get a swipe off on this expansion. Maybe get some of these SCVs, but the Marines are already here and in a position to defend.
Yeah, the Mutas definitely can still do a little bit of damage there. These 2 Firebats, actually, and this Marine worth so much. If he can force a cancel here, yeah, look at that. Can you get the drone?
Get the drone!
Oh, that's really too bad. If he had
you need to get that
Marine,
drone.
He could have gotten it. The drone will get away, though. It's far enough away.
Oh!
Until he turns around.
Apology accepted, Artosis.
Damn.
I knew that drum was going down.
I'm better than Soulkey. I wouldn't have lost that drone. I would have already lost the game, though.
I know as much about the pros. I just don't have time to play.
So yeah, right now Irradiate on the way. Vessel's on the way as well. He has made a few Lurkers here. And I'm kind of interested in this almost half and half approach where he's really kind of telegraphed mass mutas with that many sunks. You can't blame him for it. We saw what Light did to Jaedong on this map when Jaedong didn't make enough sunken colonies. So legit moves here from Soulkey. Oh man, and the harassment continues.
Ooh, but watch out for that Irradiate. What? Wait, what?
Are you joking me?
No. Wait, what was that thing he irradiated?
That was an SCV, wasn't it?
I think so. I don't know.
Did he just irradiate an SCV? Like,
that's
the worst misclick in the history of the world.
That's not a thing at all. Oh, no. Now, see, that's what it's supposed to look like.
Okay, yeah, that was good. But your first irradiate is your most important irradiate of the game, oftentimes.
These mutas flying here, they're like, is that irradiated SCV still in here? No? Okay.
Have to surround that thing with medics to
yeah,
try to make it live.
The medics all die off because they're healing the SCV.
And stuff. Yeah.
How does that work?
Oh, my gosh.
I can't believe we saw him misclick and irradiated an SCV.
Dude, that's so bad, too, because these mutas are still harassing. Like, you need the irradiate splash damage. That's, like, what you can still win the game off of. Now, again, the game not done yet. Soulkey continuing to get ridiculous damage here. But will Soulkey be able to hold on to his additional base? He was on 2-base economy for a long time.
I think he might be okay, Artosis. There should be lurkers there. Oh, are there lurkers there?
Yeah, there are, but like Light has 4 vessels, a good amount of bio. He must have 1-1 by now. He can do things like make dropships and circumvent this. Look at that. He's starting to hit a bunch of irradiates. Dude,
3.
It's only 75 energy, believe it or not. And look at this. He's got his 3rd base up. Like, this shows you, like, these 2 are really having a battle here.
There should be a Nidus connecting this, the 2 bases here. So Terran needs to break this pretty quickly. Once the Niduses are connected, you need a real miracle play to get in there.
Oh my God! The lack of splits is so real.
Oh my God!
4 completely battered mutas left.
Okay, he's going to try to run through, and those lurkers are not exactly in the ideal spot, but the Lings come up and kind of zone the Marines back out, where he says, oh, I can't really run through, can I?
This is where Light starts to hit his stride, right? He's out on the map. He's got a big group of bio. He's got 4 or 5 vessels that are radiating. The Mutila's harassment's done finally. Those things will try to hunt down vessels and stuff like that, but like now he gets his dropships. He's going into battlecruiser tech. He can eventually take a 4th base here. Again, it's not that hard once you're actually out on the map to get 4 bases on Gladiator.
The thing is, I think Light might just end up collapsing on top of Soulkey here. Okay, the Dark Swarms are going to save the day. Once you see the Dark Swarm, it's time to back up and come up with a different type of approach. So we have Soulkey with that 3rd base. And these drops are set up here to try to come in and break this. What am I seeing over here? He's going to try to drop. And we've actually not had a shot of Soulkey's 3rd base this whole time. Okay, now that's what I'm looking for.
If you just kill that Nidus immediately, this base is gone. Oh my god, Light with a huge drop here at the 3rd base. And this is huge damage. Those couple lurkers and Lings do not hold this base.
Yeah, well, they can only hold that earlier on because the army had to go down a ramp. Now we see when Light has surface area on his side, he can actually come in there and just do an insane amount of damage.
Yeah, and Soulkey does a desperation counterattack, but it's not working out right now. He's in between 2 huge groups of bio. A ton of vessels moving across the map. Light moving in for a possible kill here.
Oh, beautiful control here by Light. Targets down the lurkers.
Yeah.
And now this position is entirely lost. It's just drones.
Wow. I tell you, it was looking grim a couple times for Light, but you got to kind of stay in the game and keep it going because Soulkey, he did a lot of damage. The Mutila's harassment was pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
But when your 3rd base is that late, look at how little hive tech he has. Look how few lurkers he's made this game.
Yeah, I mean, Light's getting close to maxing out here. You know, I got to point out, the Defilers, you're really seeing why these are such powerful late-game units. The fact that there's a Zerg on 2 bases and is still kind of hanging on with Darkstorm is pretty huge. But from here on out, I just don't think this is a game that he can take. In fact, getting the battlecruisers, so this is becoming more and more commonplace here. This is a great way to try to close this out. The Scourge chasing these vessels. Again, even losing a few vessels can be forgiven here on the part of a Light because he is in such a strong place overall.
Yeah, and look, this drop into the main base. Those Mutos already so bruised from irradiates, haven't healed up yet.
GG.
That's it. All right. Light taking game number 3, and this puts him in a lead 2-1. I want to say something about this, Tasteless. This is really important for Light to win here as well because, first off, obviously, round of 8, that's important, yes. But Light's weakness is really kind of TVP. And the winners of the other 2 groups, Rain and Snow, are the best 2 PvT players in the world. Okay? So if he wins this group, he automatically avoids playing them in the round of 8. That is a huge thing to happen for Light.
That's a good big picture point there, Artosis.
Yeah.
We're going to go into game